with open hearts and open minds. First United Methodist Church in Pueblo, Colorado presents Hope and Coffee with Pastor Hugo Venegas.
Hi, welcome back to Hope and Coffee. This is Hugo Venegas coming directly from the First United Methodist Church. We're studying the benefits of wisdom based on Proverbs chapter 3. And we're going to look at verses 3 and 4 today. But here's my question. What does it take to be famous? What does it take to be famous? Some people say you have to be a politician to be famous. Other people would say you have to have a lot of money. Other people say you have to accomplish something. You have to be a great athlete, or you got to be a great actor. You've got to do something. And we know that because of social media, you can be famous just by a video, something funny, something incredible, something outrageous. I mean, there are people that have become rich and famous because they did something outrageous. This is the age of social media, which everyone has a chance to become rich and famous. But when it comes to fame, because that's a benefit of life of wisdom is to be famous, like Solomon. And it says here in verses 3 and 4, let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Do you see what that says? That one of the benefits of a life of wisdom is fame. But the fame that Proverbs is talking about is fame based on character. That being known, having a good reputation before God and before man is because you live a life of integrity, a life of character, a life of spiritual coherence. Now, let me give you an example of someone who was famous, who had a good reputation in the sight of God. Job, remember Job? If you look at the Bible in Job, Job was famous because God was the one who bragged about him before the angels and before Satan. He says, have you seen my servant Job? Have you considered Job, how Job loves me and Job serves me? And the devil said, yeah, because of all that stuff that you gave him, because you made him prosperous, because you made him a big, rich family man. That's why he loves you. Take all of that and you will see that he's going to curse you. And we know that through all that Job experienced, he never let go of God. He says, naked I come into the world, and naked I will go. Blessed be the name of the Lord. He never lost his focus on God being the anchor of his life. That's famous. That's fame. Fame that is based on fidelity to God. There is another man who was famous because of his reputation with men. If you have your Bibles, go to Acts chapter 10, and this is the Cornelius. Cornelius was a centurion, and remember that the Roman soldiers were not very popular with the Jewish people. And but this centurion was very popular, and he was very known. And look what it says here in the Bible about Cornelius. In Acts chapter 10, beginning at verse 1, it says, at Caesarea there was a man named Cornelius, a centurion, in what was known as the Italian regiment. He and all his family were devout and God-fearing. He gave generously to those in need and prayed to God regularly. One day at about 3 in the afternoon, he had a vision. He distinctly saw an angel of God who came to him and said, Cornelius. Cornelius stared at him in fear. What is it, Lord? He asked. The angel answered, your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up as a memorial offering before God. Now send men to Joppa and bring back a man named Simon, who is called Peter. He is staying in the home of Simon the tanner, whose house is by the sea. When the angel who spoke to him had gone, Cornelius called 2 of his servants and a devout soldier who was one of his attendants. He told them everything that had happened and sent them to Joppa. Now, Cornelius had a good reputation as a devout spiritual man, someone who was generous to the poor, and his generosity was known in the community but it was also known before God. He was famous to the angels, and God is said that all his generosity was like a sweet offering, and the angel came to him as a response of him being generous in character. So what does it mean to become famous? That's one of the benefits. But notice what it says here in verse 3. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. So fame for the believer is based in character. And there are two characteristics that lead people to be famous when they live a life of wisdom. And one is love, and the other one is faithfulness. That when we love God, and when we are loving to other people, and when we are generous, and when we are faithful, then these two qualities, love and faithfulness, will allow us to live the benefit of a life of wisdom and a life of fame. And notice it says, do not allow these things to escape your life. Tie them around, bind them around your neck. And the word love comes from the Hebrew hesed. I love hesed. Hesed is love, but it says it's the covenant love that stays involved in a life. And the hesed, the word hesed for love, speaks of the trait of God towards his people, that he has hesed towards his people. It's a covenant love that stays involved in people's life. When you go through the valleys, when you struggle, when the high water comes in your life, God will never leave you. God will never forsake you. That's why David says, for surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. He sets a table before me in the presence of my enemies. He anoints my head with oil. David understood that God's love was hesed, a covenant love that stays involved in his life as a child until he became an old man. And the word faithfulness is the word in Hebrew that it comes from emet. And emet, the significance of emet is faithfulness in taking care of us. That is a trait of God, that when we say, great is thy faithfulness, meaning that God takes care of us. He shepherds us. And what Proverbs is saying, that if we want to be famous, if we want to be known to the angels, if we want to be known with good reputation before people, then we should exemplify the qualities of hesed, a love in which we stay involved in the lives of people. As parents, that we are involved in our children's life, not in a nosy way, but faithfully being involved in their journey, just as God has been involved in our journey. As friends, that we are involved in the journeys of our friends, whether they end up in jail, whether they end up in divorce court, whether they don't go to church, whether they don't give, importance to certain values. That's hesed. It's a love that stays involved in the life of people, not because of their positions, not because of their politics, not because of their views, but it's a covenant. It's a relational love that stays involved in that person's life. And then faithfulness is, do we take care of the people that we love? Do we take care of those who are struggling around us? Do we take care of the hungry? You know the marvelous job that you have done. A lot of you have asked me, tell us the stories about the goats. The First United Methodist Church provided 30 goats. You adopted goats for the families of the native Bribri people in your king. And everyone wants to hear the story about the goats. Why? Because you're taking care of the poor. You're taking care of those who are in need. This past Sunday, after service, a woman came up to me and she had her mask and she said, Pastor, here. And she handed me a bill. It was a substantial bill to pay for the food that we need with the Cooperative Care Center, to take care of our people in Pueblo. She gave me a 3-figure bill because she was faithful with Emmett. So how do we become famous? We become famous in the eyes of God and with a good reputation before others when we have hesed, a covenant love that stays involved in the lives of people, and emet, when we are faithful to take care of the people that God brings in our lives. This is Hugo Venegas from the First United Methodist Church. We're studying the benefits of wisdom. Today it is fame. Let's see what tomorrow is the benefit that we will get in our lives.
Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed our inspirational Bible study, like or subscribe below. Join us for worship online or in person. You can visit us at firstumcpueblo.org, or you can come by at 310 West 11th Street, Pueblo, Colorado 81003. Give us a call, 719-544-1917, and join us again tomorrow for another inspirational Bible study. We'll see you soon.